So, words that don't correspond to reality, like for example, Darwin's theory of evolution, the Big Bang theory. The Big Bang theory, what does it say? That there was a mass and suddenly it exploded and the world it exploded, scattered and cooled down and the world got created. This is the Big Bang theory. We were all taught that in the school. Now, so many books have been published. One gentleman published a book called The First 3 Minutes. What are these first 3 minutes? What happened in the first 3 minutes of the Big Bang? You were not there, we were not there. What are you doing? He is fantasizing. Stephen Hawking, great scientist, he has written the story of time, in which he has assumed this Big Bang. Now tell me, does a bang create things or does a bang destroy things? Now earlier we used to have that typewriter, the typewriter with the ghodi, the rider on it. So those keys were there. Now somebody says, I have a typewriter shop. And what happened? Yesterday there was a bang. And what happened? Then by chance the keys started hitting on the paper. And by chance the right kind of words were getting typed. And when the whole sentence was complete and the line was complete, by chance that writer went back. And again by chance they all started typing properly. Then again by chance it went back. And in this way when 25 lines got typed, then by chance the paper flew out and fell on the desk. And by chance the next paper came in. And that also started typing. In this manner, when I came in the morning and opened my typewriter shop, I found the complete works of William Shakespeare out there. So you'll say, what is this? Similarly, if somebody says the world got created by itself, by a Big Bang, it is equally incredulous. There was this scientist called Francis Collins. He has written this book called The Language of God. And in that, he describes, he was the head of the Human Genome Project. The Human Genome Project was the first project of decoding the human DNA. So a team of international scientists got together to decode the DNA. And after many years, when they had decoded it, this Francis Collins made the declaration on the same stage with Bill Clinton there, that finally the human DNA is decoded. And later on, he wrote this book, Language of God. So in this book, he says that, look, me, a man of science, who's at the cutting edge of human frontiers of knowledge, having decoded the human DNA, should lose faith that there is no God. Now we know everything. But my faith in God has only increased. Because the DNA is so complex. The information that is packed in the DNA. If you were to write it on A4 size sheets, those sheets would keep piling up to the height of the Washington Monument. And if you were to read them, if you keep reading it at the rate of 3 syllables a second, it would take you 31 years to complete. And that DNA, if you were to straighten it out, it would go all the way to the moon and come back. So he says that kind of complexity is there in one DNA of one human cell. And then there is the RNA and so many other things. Such an amazing world must have a creator. But then, what is fanciful knowledge? Big Bang theory. So he says that, this fanciful knowledge also brings about changes of state of the mind. Number 10. Abhav, pratyaya, alambana, vritti nidra. Nidra, deep sleep, is the non-deliberate absence of thought waves and knowledge. So now he's just described technically completing it. It doesn't have much relevance, but technically completing it. He says that when you go into deep sleep, At that time, you don't experience anything. But it's a positive experience of nothingness that makes you fully refreshed. So, the mind is there, but the mind is in a state of zero experience. And that is why when you wake up, you say, Sukhamaham swapsam na kinchidaham vedisham. I slept very peacefully. I did not experience anything. So I did not experience anything. This I was there. Is Ramesh in that room? So the answer comes, Ramesh is not in this room. So somebody is there who's saying Ramesh is not in the room. So similarly, in your deep sleep, you did not experience anything. That was a positive experience of the mind. So he says, this is another state. This deep sleep brings about another change of state of the mind. Anubhuta Vishaya Sampramoshah Smriti. Smriti, memory, is when perceived objects are not forgotten and remain in the consciousness. Now he's coming to something more solid and important. So he says that we bring about changes in our state by memory. Memory is a gift of God. Supposing there was no memory, what would happen? There was one philosopher, he used to wear his shoes and his hat and go to sleep. So somebody asked him that, why do you sleep with your shoes and hat? He said, in the morning if I forget where they are, then I will be in a problem. So the person said, it will not be a problem. You make a list where all your items are. In the morning you check from the list. So all right. Now he said, my shoes are here, my hat is here, my trousers are here. And he went to sleep. Now in the morning he got up. He saw the list. Oh, big problem. Where am I? I'm not on the list. I've forgotten myself. Fortunately, God has given us a memory with the help of which we can remember things. Two things are necessary: to be able to remember and to be able to forget. Supposing we could not forget, how terrible it would be. When somebody is in some family, somebody has passed away, and then sometimes, they come to Swamiji for consolation. So I say, look, time is the biggest healer. What will happen with time? The memory will forget. And if you cannot forget the unpleasant instances, episodes, you keep remembering them, you will keep feeling miserable. So the ability to forget is necessary. And the ability to remember is also necessary. Otherwise, you hear good knowledge, you can't keep it with you. You won't be able to use it. This memory has two aspects to it: short-term memory and long-term memory. Short-term memory is which you just remember for a little while. Like, sometimes when I have to ring up India, now you are using that calling card. So you read this guy's phone number, 9426157243. Okay. 0119194652743. So you have remembered it just for a few seconds and then it's gone. Acha, what was that number? I don't remember now. So short-term memory is like the RAM of the computer. And then there is the long-term memory, that's the hard drive. So what happens is, the short-term memory, if you want to remember long-term, it's the knowledge changes the way it is stored in the mind, it creates permanent neural connections that can then be accessed. And the deeper those connections, the deeper is the memory. So when you keep on revising, then those neural connections become stronger. And then you are able to remember. So short-term memory must be forgotten. If you remember that long-term, you get into problem. For example, God has given me this ability to remember faces. Visual. If I see somebody, I remember. Now this used to get me into big problems. As a youth, now of course it faded off. As a youth, I would be going in a bus. Now I'm seeing this guy, remembering all. Then after 4 days, I see him. Where have I seen him? You're not supposed to remember, but you do remember, big problem. So there's a short-term memory, you remember and forget. And there's a long-term memory that you should remember. But come to the point. The change of state that we want in our mind is this, that we want to improve the mind. Now, if we remember material things, that's not going to help us. So our scriptures say, remember God. Saint Kabir says, Sumiran ki sudhiyon karo, jo surabhi sutamahi, kahe Kabir charo charat, bisarat kabhunk nahi. He says, remember God all the while like cow remembers its calf. So you keep God in remembrance. And they tell us the technique of Naam Smaran. What is Naam Smaran? Remembrance of the name of God. At present, our memory is all disjointed, remembering good things, remembering unnecessary things, remembering useless things. So if you can yoke it to the remembrance of the name of God, your mind will keep remembering God. And that remembrance of God will change the state of the mind in the way you desire.